1353, Europe. The Black Death ends after 6 years. 25 million dead. 1/3 of the population. Villages empty. Fields untended. Families wiped out. Survivors bury their dead and wait for society to return to normal. But normal never came back. The Black Death didn't just kill people. It killed feudalism and created the modern economy. This is that story. Before the plague, Europe was frozen in place. The feudal system, peasants bound to land, born a serf, die a serf, no wages, no mobility, no choice. Lords owned everything. Peasants worked for protection, not money. The population kept growing. More people than land. Labor was worthless. If you complained, your lord replaced you. Thousands waiting for your job. Then 1347, ships arrive in Sicily, carrying rats, carrying fleas, carrying pleas bubonic plague. Bubonic plague spreads like wildfire. No immunity, no cure, no escape. City or countryside, rich or poor, death came for everyone. Within 6 years, Europe loses 1/3 of its population. But here's what happened next. Everything changed. Suddenly, labor was valuable. Fewer workers meant workers had power. For the first time in centuries, peasants could negotiate. Lords needed harvest brought in, but half the workers were dead. Surviving peasants said, "Pay us," in actual money. Lords refused. "You're bound to the land, you work for free." Peasants walked away, moved to the next manor, demanded wages. Lords who refused lost their crops. Lords who paid got workers. For the first time, ordinary people had leverage. The labor shortage created the first labor market. Wages doubled, then tripled. Peasants earning actual silver coins. They bought better food, better clothes, small luxuries never affordable before. Lords tried to stop it. England passed the Statute of Laborers, 1451. Froze wages at pre-plague levels, made it illegal to demand more pay. Workers ignored it, moved anyway, demanded wages anyway. You can't enforce a law when everyone breaks it. 1481, England, the Peasants' Revolt. 60,000 workers march on London, demanding end to serfdom, demanding fair wages. The revolt was crushed. Leaders executed, but the message was sent. Workers had tasted freedom. They wouldn't go back. Within a generation, serfdom collapsed across Western Europe, not through revolution, through economics. Lords couldn't get workers without paying them, so they paid them. By 1415, most peasants worked for wages, not servitude. The middle class was born. But the transformation went deeper. Land became cheap. The plague killed landowners with no heirs.
Transcription. Here are the
Surviving peasants inherited, bought land cheap, became small farmers. Property ownership spread, wealth spread, power spread, innovation exploded. Before the plague, why innovate? Labor was free. After the plague, labor was expensive. Efficiency mattered. Windmills, water mills, better crop rotation. All expanded post-plague. Make one worker do the work of 3, because you couldn't afford 3. Cities boomed, peasants fled manors for urban freedom. City air makes you free, medieval German saying. Guilds formed, craftsmen organized, specialized labor emerged. Baker, blacksmith, tailor, carpenter, each a profession, each earning wages. The urban middle class exploded, literacy spread, ideas circulated. Education expanded, universities grew. Before plague, universities trained clergy. After plague, universities educated merchants, lawyers, doctors. Social mobility became possible. Your children could rise higher than you. The Renaissance happened because the plague created a middle class who could afford art. Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael, paid by merchant families, not just nobility. The Medicis, banking family, rose from nothing after plague created opportunities. Economic transformation enabled cultural transformation. Even medicine advanced. The plague forced doctors to observe, record, experiment. Germ theory was centuries away. But systematic medical observation began. Quarantine was invented. Venice, 1397. First quarantine laws. Public health became a government responsibility. And there was a psychological shift. Europeans realized catastrophe could strike anyone. Security wasn't guaranteed. Plan for the future. Save money. Invest wisely. Modern financial thinking was born from plague trauma. Banks expanded. Insurance was invented. Hedge against disaster. What happened after the Black Death ended? Workers gained power. Wages rose. Serfdom ended. The middle class emerged. Property ownership spread. Cities boomed. Innovation exploded. The Renaissance flourished. Social mobility became possible. The plague didn't destroy Europe. It liberated it. By killing so many, it freed the survivors. Labor shortages gave workers leverage they'd never had. Land availability gave peasants property they couldn't have afforded. Crisis created opportunity. Catastrophe created progress. The modern economy, wages, property rights, social mobility was born from the plague. Today we see echoes. COVID-19, labor shortages, remote work revolution.
My current expectation is
The Great
around
Resignation,
90,000.
workers
Thank you for the
demanding
offer,
better
but I'm
conditions,
looking for a
higher
higher
pay,
compensation.
flexibility. Same pattern. Crisis creates leverage. Workers use it. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. The Black Death taught us something profound. Catastrophe can create transformation. The death and suffering were real, but so was the liberation that followed. Sometimes the old world has to die for a new one to be born. The plague ended feudalism, created the middle class, made the modern world possible. Subscribe to see what history left behind.